Hello, Erica Simone here from Color the World. Welcome to our first episode of 2022. I'm so happy to see you, and I'm so happy to be back. I have so many new things planned for this year, and I can't wait to share it with you. The first book we are going to read today is called Bright Sky, Starry City, and it's written by Krishnaswami. The pictures are illustrated by Aloud. And you know what? Instead of sitting back and grabbing a snack like my sweater says, I think that you should get a piece of paper and a pencil, because wouldn't it be so nice to learn about the planets in our solar system? Let's read.
Did you know that the Earth is part of our solar system? We now know that the planets appear to move across the sky because they are going around the sun in oval paths called orbits. Let's learn the orbital orders of our 8 planets. First, there's Mercury. Mercury is closest to the sun. It doesn't have a moon. Then there's Venus. It's the hottest and brightest planet. And then Earth, the planet we live on. It's 93 million miles from the sun, and 70% of it is covered with water. Then there's Mars, the red planet. And Jupiter, the giant stormy planet. Saturn, it's known for its rings. And it's the furthest planet that can be seen from Earth without a telescope. And then there's Uranus, the coldest planet. And lastly, Neptune, the windy planet. Do you know that it takes 165 years to complete one orbit? Let's get right into our story today. Bright Sky, Starry City. Bright Sky, Starry City. Written by Krishnaswami. Pictures by Aloud. Phoebe helped her dad set up the telescopes outside his store. She added special effects. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Phoebe sang the planet names as she drew. She thought of them spinning on their axis, going round and round the sun, over and over, forever and ever. 2 of the planets, Saturn and Mars, would be up in the sky later, between those buildings. They'd be up, but Phoebe worried she wouldn't be able to see them. Would anyone? Dad knew where to look, but city lights always turned the night sky gray and dull. People hurried past, hugging themselves against the wind, while Phoebe made her planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, spin on the sidewalk. Streetlights blinked on, neon signs flashed and flickered. Up in the sky, something faint tried to glimmer through. "What's that star?" Phoebe asked. "Vega?" said Dad. "Deneb?" It was hard to tell. "Where are Mars and Saturn?" said Phoebe. "Over in the west," said Dad. "If we were out in the country, we could see them. The city lights wouldn't spoil the night sky." But they were not in the country. "It's not fair," Phoebe said. She closed her eyes and wished for all the bright lights to disappear. All those blinking, flashing, glowing lights that sent pale fingers up into the sky. She longed for the city lights to go out, just for a while, just to give the night sky a chance. The wind whistled. A fat drop fell on Phoebe's nose. Another in her hair. Then more and more, splattering on the sidewalk. "Sorry, Phoebe," said Dad. "We'd better pack it in." Rain blurred the lights. Clouds blotted out the sky. Dad hurried Phoebe back into the shop. Phoebe peered through the window at her sidewalk solar system dissolving into chalky streams. "Maybe we should just go home," said Dad. But Phoebe did not want to go home. She wanted a beautiful, inky black night. Lightning cracked the sky. Phoebe counted the seconds 1 to 10. Thunder crashed. "Let's wait for the rain to stop," said Phoebe. Could be a while, Dad warned. What about Mars and Saturn? Said Phoebe. Dad just shook his head. Crash! Boom! The echoes faded, but something had changed. Where were all the lights? With the city suddenly darkened, Phoebe and Dad sat in the store listening to the rain. At last! At last! At long last! The downpour slowed from torrent to shower to pitter-patter drip. Phoebe had never heard anything so glorious. When the last drops had fallen, when the wind had died down, and the last clouds were gone, Phoebe and Dad ventured outside. Above the newly washed city, with the power still out, glowing, sparkling, gleaming lights painted the night. Some faint, some brilliant, some clustered together, and some scattering fiercely through the inky darkness. Stars in the hundreds, some in the constellations that Phoebe had only ever seen in pictures. And there they were, right where they should be, two bright and steady points of light, Saturn and Mars, close to each other in the western sky. People milled around, talking, pointing, laughing, looking all at once, all together under the stars. Phoebe squinted through the telescope at Saturn dazzle, misty, magical, floating rings, and the faint dot of planet's biggest moon. Somewhere in there, too far to spot, Phoebe imagined the rest of Saturn's many moons, including the small rocky one that she was named for. Dad turned the telescopes, focusing on one cluster of stars, and then another. How deep the night was, and how endless!
A telescope? What's a telescope? My gosh! Let me tell you. A telescope is an instrument containing an arrangement of lenses or mirrors or both, designed to make distant objects appear nearer. And I have a fun activity for you. At the end of this video, you can actually make your own binoculars. And look, this is what I made. So you can see the stars in the sky. Okay, well, not quite. But you get the idea. It's fun, so you can try it. Back to the story.
Then, adjusting to the darkness, Phoebe saw something she'd never seen before. A pale, gauzy, whitish band low in the eastern sky. What's that cloud? Phoebe said. The Milky Way, Dad said. That's part of our galaxy you're looking at. Phoebe breathed in the night with all its stars and planets. What a bright, bright sky, she whispered. It's a starry city, all right, said Dad. And it was. Soon, the lights would come back on, and everyone would hurry off. But for a brief time, above the dark city, there was the bright night sky, the bright night sky, with the stars in their constellations and the planets wheeling in their orbits.
Thank you so much for reading with me today. And you know what? I hope this little intro to learning about our planets is intriguing you to learn about more. So don't forget about that binocular activity I told you about. Till we read again. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me for today's reading. Now don't forget to click that thumbs up button. You can subscribe so you'll know when we're coming out with new videos. And if you know how to type, you can add a lovely comment. Now listen, at the end of this video, you are going to see an art and craft that I had done making my own binoculars. So if you want to, have a look at the stars at night, you can use those. Till we read again, and Happy New Year!